okay? Orange vessels here, lymphatic capillaries. There are a lot more of them than there are arteries and veins. They're coming from all over. And as I said, they are totally transparent, and their contents are transparent, and they're small, so we don't see them until 1950s or so, okay? The brown items here represent lymph nodes, which are large, small, or indifferent. These are the inguinal lymph nodes represented on this particular model. These are the axillary lymph nodes represented on this particular model. I don't shoot myself here, okay? There we go. There are lymph tissues flowing all over all of this, and it's invisible, so we won't be mentioning it. But I will bring out, just a moment, I want to do something to this model.
Yeah, they're just on that.
So she said here.
Use an expo so I can wipe it off so the next teacher doesn't wonder what I'm doing here. Okay? All right. This is the thoracic duct fitting in. It's the same orange color as our lymphatic vessels down here and down here, but this is also the thoracic duct, which they didn't bother to paint. Okay? That possibly is lymphatic stuff coming in from elsewhere, but I want you to know this thoracic duct, as it comes up, turns and enters between the jugular and the subclavian and flows back into the blood supply. We cannot see the cisterna chyli because it's surrounded, it's back here, and that's permanently built into our situation. But we can see the spleen. Spleen is both cleaning the blood, and it's kind of our largest lymph node. All right? We do not have the right lymphatic duct over here, so I don't mark it, but we do have the thoracic duct, and we have a fairly decent section of it here, okay? Make that thoracic too. Okay. This is the appendix, according to this model. Right. The cat is going to have a bulb down here called the cecum, which is going to be lined with lymphatic kind of pyre patch type things. We're going to have pyre patches throughout this entire area here, okay? And we're going to have them, since this is the place where the small intestine here joins the large intestine, we're going to have them in the connecting spot here. The resident flora of the large intestine, we don't want living in our small intestine. Different breed of organism entirely. We also have bacteria in our small intestine. Why on earth would people take probiotics, which happens to be bacteria, to recolonize their stomach and their intestines if they weren't there in the first place, right? So we've got resident bacteria we want to keep. We want to keep these guys here, and never the twain shall meet. So that's one of the major reasons for what's left of the function of the appendix, and primarily the pyre patches, which are going to be right here at the ileocecal junction, okay? We are going to have mucosal-associated lymphatic tissue all over the small intestine. So a question might be that there is a small colony of white blood cells located here that is semi-permanent at an area what was the term I was, I'm not thinking, yeah,
The ones up there.
the semi-permanent.
Up and down.
Yeah, semi-permanent.
Yeah, at any rate, that would be a malt area, and I'm trying to think, they would be nodules, lymphatic nodule would be there as part of the mucosal associated lymphatic tissue.
Wait, can
tissue.
you say that question again?
Okay.
I lost you.
Mucosal associated lymphatic tissue can be found anywhere in the respiratory, digestive, reproductive, or urinary tract, but the place that I would put it on an exam is somewhere in the folds of the small intestine. A malt is going, in this case, it would be a nodule. I could say there's a nodule here, or there's a nodule here, there's a nodule there, in which case you tell me it's malt. If I say there is malt or mucosal associated tissue here, you say nodule. Fair enough? All right, so, let's see. We've got vessels, we've got nodes, we have nodules, we have tonsils and adenoids. We get into the spleen here. The two other major parts of our lymphatic system that I will have marked in some way, this might be a good one here. There's red bone marrow, right? That's where we are making the lymphocytes. So if I point directly at, obviously, spongy bone, your answer is red bone marrow, okay?
We're making cells.
I might also take a heart like this and put a wet paper towel on top of it here and say, this is also a primary lymphatic tissue, in which case you answer thymus, okay? Now, you got your lab list with you? Have you checked them all off? Lymph node, spleen, bone marrow, okay? We've got the axillary, oh, cisterna-chyli I can't find, so that one won't be shown,
Okay.
okay? So I can't do that. The cisterna-chyli, you need to look at in your textbook and kind of figure that's where all of this stuff is connecting. It's a little pool before we go up the thoracic duct. I may ask about that on the written test. There's no way I'm going to put it on the practical, okay? So we will have heart and heart parts. I thoroughly covered with you guys the various capillaries and whatnot on the previous test, right? Okay. I'm teaching 202 to another class that has to learn all of this in 8 weeks. So I had to check in my mind to make sure that I wasn't, they got that part moved to their current test. So there'll be nothing on circulation.